Alright guys, so today we are gonna hop into some testing for a Gundam Ez8. So this time around we are in the global side just to see what's going on. As far as my Ez8 right now, I am just gonna set it at custom level 9. Pretty much I just spare stock. I'm not really gonna do too much upgrading because it doesn't really matter in terms of this overall unit itself. What it matters is what it's providing, the EX skill effects, and then skill 1 and skill 2. We will not really look forward into what kind of damage this unit is going to be doing because it's not going to be doing any hot damage at all, because look at all these power ratio for these weapon is pretty weak. All right, so I have already did a kind of like a side-by-side comparison because in terms of the setup we are using Ez8, and then the other benchmarking we were doing was using the Victory Gundam as our baseline. So obviously if you're not using a support, what do you use? So simply, if you're not using a support, you will probably use something that you will regularly use anyways. So if that other 6-spot unit is able to deal more damage collectively, you know, as a whole, being able to finish the match faster, then is Ez8 even a good option that you run? Probably not. So that's why we were trying to do all sorts of testing and whatnot. And you know, in terms of the overall outcome, you can kind of say that luckily we were able to finish a little bit faster by 2 seconds. But I will definitely tell you guys that there are just a lot of variants when we are trying to do these testings, because in terms of S Gundam and Double Zeta Gundam, they do not like getting hit. So we did run into a situation where, you know, they were consistently getting hit, so that's why I have to bring new Gundam for the healing. So without further ado, what we are going to do now, we are going to upgrade them now, because we're going to see how good supposedly Transcendent skill 5 is. So we're just going to do this. It doesn't really matter because what we're getting out of this is just, you know, a little bit better in terms of EX skill. So now instead of 17%, we are starting out at 20%, and then respectively 40% for the other trait. So this is pretty much the number you are looking at after the enhancement, not the enhancement, the potential release. So let's just kind of do that. So pretty much the stable Transcendent skill level is obviously going to be 3, because the Transcendent skill 3 we should be able to unlock pretty much both of the effects, while I think the last effects is still being locked away. So let's kind of take a look at that real quick. So yeah, Transcendent skill 3 is definitely where you want your Ez8 to be at, you know, a little bit in the early game or whatnot, when you guys are still forming your horror coins. So I think we would just kind of put it at 3 right out the bat, because we know we kind of need both of them to, you know, kind of proctor together anyways, or we can just kind of do this first and see what's going on. So this will give you guys a fair comparison. How is it at just Transcendent skill level 1, and then yep. All right, so this is ultimately P2 T1 testing, right? Because we have that. All right, so after that we can hop into the same co-op to see what we can do. Alright, so we are here. So I think this is probably my 5th attempt trying to get this going on, because I'm having trouble keeping my backliners, you know, intact, because I kept getting target. I have no reason why. So I think I'm just gonna have it in this setup. So whatever the outcome for this one, we will just kind of use this one as the testing, I guess, in a way, because I am starting to run out of BP as well, and I just can't continuously do this. I will just accept this as, you know, true to the nature of just the RNG. So we will just kind of see what Ez8 is able to provide to us. So far I would not say it's looking all that great, because S Gundam has, you know, already taking way more damage than I want it to be. So even S Gundam has, you know, kind of fallen off a little bit in terms of the damage. So quite unfortunate, right? Because usually, you know, S Gundam would have been in the top placement at this point in time. I feel like, you know, the team that we have configured having what we did was probably not the best move. So in terms of the timer, we should see a significantly slower timer for sure. Yeah, at 144 was definitely way slower than expected, but like I said again, this is what you would expect to see in a real world situation because you can not guarantee a 100% succession where we get the perfect RNG all the time. So I'm just gonna move on and upgrade easy into Transcendent skill 3, and then we are just gonna come back around and then run it again to see how things goes. Alright, so we have upgrade Ez8 to Transcendent skill 3. So this time around we are also gaining a little bit more of critical rate. We are also getting some crit attack. So hopefully for the first 30 seconds that we are able to put that at good use. So obviously with timer goes on, damage wise it's gonna start phasing out as well because Ez8 is only able to provide only a short, very short duration. So it's obviously not going to be that good. But let's kind of see how we would do. Alright, so I'm just gonna keep it the same setup as I did initially and then hope for the best. I have no idea. So everything should be kicking in already besides the EX skill. We have not gotten that off yet. So far it's alright, it's doing pretty good. But I'll definitely say the T3 is definitely where you should kind of aim your EZ to be at the moment. Because that's probably going to be providing the most buff, right? With a little bit of resources like the rainbow coins. So I think so far I'm definitely seeing it, right? Besides the fact that Ez8 is gonna suffer right there. I'm just gonna use the splitters because like I said again, we are going for that RNG, right? This is what you would expect on a day-to-day basis if you are playing co-ops. You will just always come into these unexpected situation where for whatever reason we just get chased down like that. So that's kind of unfortunate, right? Ez8 dying off, so we obviously are losing a lot of timing right there for sure. Alright, so even with Ez8 kind of dying off a little bit earlier than expected, we did do fairly nice. So we did finish at 138, so it's not a whole lot honestly because like I was expecting more. I was expecting we could have potentially shaved out at least 10 seconds plus, but we did not. So now we are going to go into the last phase where we are just going to upgrade Ez8 into Transcendent skill 5. Alright, so we have achieved Transcendent skill 5, so we are obviously gaining a lot of buffs via the first 30 seconds, and then we are getting a faster EXQ gauge recovery at that 1 minute mark as well. So hopefully this will be a better testing. I do hope. At least give us like a really good burst damage right off the bat so we can kind of make Ez8 look a little bit more useful than it should have been. I know like you guys do know how powerful Ez8 initially is, like even without the EZ8, right? But yeah, we just trying to see if we can do any better. But so far I think so far we're doing pretty nice, right? I think collectively the whole team is doing good as well. It's not only the Bombardier unit that's doing good, the other two like New Gundam, Kasatria, they are putting in work as well, so do not discredit them as well. But it's just the main focus is on the Bombardier unit because they are the one that is receiving the most buffs. So that's why I do want to put my attention onto them because they are the one that supposedly should shine more. This time around definitely looked really promising. One take and that was it. I did not have to go back and forth into doing a few recordings of this, so that was definitely pretty good. Oh wow, are you kidding me? Only 138, huh? What are we looking at right here? So in conclusion, how do you feel about Ez8 at custom or not custom level at Transcendent skill 5? Not much difference. Do I think it's a lot more better than with and without? I think for global it's definitely a whole lot of mess right now because we're just not really able to see NP power. Like even when we do take a look at the overall damage over here, I don't really see anywhere where our damage was capped at all. So it's kind of unfortunate how even though we have EZ8 at at a pretty high investment, we're just not able to bring a whole lot out of. I feel like in terms of trying to make a good use of EZ8 is trying to get into a setup where you can finish the match faster, meaning aka if we wouldn't use, let's say, the engaged cannon, if we would have replaced that with, let's say, Zeta Gundam, or if we probably took out New Gundam and we put in Sasabi for more damage dealing type, I think we would have been able to capitalize on the timing so we can minimize the timing that is needed into completing the co-op, so that will supposedly allow us to squeeze in more of what EZ is able to do. But in a real world situation where we have a lot of free-to-play players, or just in general, like light spanner, this is typically what you would see, because you don't have a lot of units that are like really well built, like a lot of investment, so your time in these battles are just gonna be long. So this is where EZ is not really conducive to these longer fighting style, because all of these buffs are pretty much gone at that point in time. But other than that, I was able to provide you with this information, so hopefully you guys are able to make a good decision whether or not you want to max out your EZ8 initially.